Thank you, Henna, and very nice to be with you all from Finland. I've visited Finland many times in recent years and I've had such a good experiences. And Finland has also been ahead in the Brahma Kumaris world of sort of engaging in the environment work and climate action. I think one of our first green retreats was in Finland. And Henna, who just introduced me, she's our green angel in Finland. If you didn't know, you can ask her also. And I like to share a PowerPoint with you today, so I'll just get that working. So here. I'll try again. Yes. So the topic today is Healthy Mind, Healthy Planet. And I saw on the beautiful post you had, it's called Terva Miele, Terva Planeta, I think in Finnish. So a little Finnish I learned. And of course, this is a very relevant topic because not only do we have very urgent climate change, we also have the pandemic at the moment. So this is more relevant than ever, I feel. And as we know, the mind and planet is forever connected. And we know that we come very close to ourselves when we're in nature. And if you feel you sort of don't connect very well to yourself, or if you lost hope or lost the drive for whatever you have to do, then for many people it will come back if we go out in nature. Today I've just been on the beach here in Copenhagen and the sand was frozen. So I've had a new experience in my life. I walked on frozen sand and it's very, very tiny snow. But it was like the sand was frozen, very beautiful. And I feel so refreshed. And of course, I know that meditation will also do that for all of us who practice meditation. So if you combine the two, wow, you will be really strong. And for many years, I've been visiting Potsdam Climate Change Institute. It's in Germany, outside Berlin. And they are the leading research institute in Germany. And we meet some of the scientists there from time to time to discuss the urgency of climate change and the latest trend and statistics and what we all can do as human beings. And once I asked the professor, what do you really think is the core problem? What is at the root of all these climate change problems? And his answer was very interesting because it was not what we expected from a professor. He said, it's a relationship to nature. And maybe somehow along the way, we have lost not only good relationship to ourselves and to others, but also to nature. And there is a very old Native American saying, and which I like very much, and I think you might agree with me, that if there were no animals on the planet, the human beings would feel very lonely. Can you imagine that? That you go out in nature and you can't hear any birds or there is no insects. You know, in some countries, 50% of the insects are gone. And we might be irritated on the flies, etc. But you know, they're very necessary for our ecosystems. And so we have to look after them. And one more piece of fact, that there is a new psychological disorder. It's called nature deficit disorder. And it is saying that if you as a kid, you don't spend enough time outdoors, you will have behavioral problems as an adult. And once I met a boy, he had his grandparents here in Denmark and it was summer and he was living in Hong Kong and he was 5 years old and he had never walked on grass barefoot. I mean, for us in the north, in Scandinavia, in the Nordic countries, I think most kids have, but he was living in Hong Kong, and you should have seen his face, his wonder walking on the grass. And so these kind of experiences is actually necessary for us to grow up as full human beings. So what I would like to do now is to go through these 10 ways to change the world. These are 10 values which will help us to reconnect to nature in a very sustainable way. And I would like you to take notes because I will go through one by one. And whilst I'll talk you through these values, maybe you like to make a note of which one of the 10 are you best at. This one I can say, okay, I really practice that. And there would also most likely be one of them which you need to practice more of. Maybe the one you are the least best. So then maybe we can say that in the coming month, in February, I will really practice this one. And you can all put it in the chat afterwards. It would be really nice to see. So let's start with the first one, living simply. And yes, I suppose you are not surprised that this would be number one, because we are consuming too much and depleting the resources of the planet. And this is no news. But why is it? Why is it we have too many things and gadgets? And why is it that we spend nearly 2 times the planet? And living simply maybe doesn't sound fun, or maybe doesn't sound attractive. And sometimes we compensate. I feel a bit empty inside, so I feel that emptiness with going out shopping, buying a new t-shirt, buying some new shoes, a handbag, whatever, for the women. And so here we're saying, if I practice inner contentment, then living simply will be a joy. And it will be something that gives time for me to appreciate the wonders of the world. Because if I'm not living simply, I'm living complicated. So I have too many things and too many complications. So there is no time to sort of enjoy the small things, the joy of the small things in life. And so the action point here would be to practice inner contentment. And one way to do this is, of course, to make this gratitude list. You know, every day I can write down a few things which I'm really happy about, which I'm thankful for. It can be one of the small things, like you have heating inside, or you know, you have someone to talk to in these pandemic days. So, but if I start making the list, it will grow, and my gratitude increase, and my contentment increase, and my tendency to consume less and live more simply will also increase. And the next one is being unlimited. And unlimited means I can go beyond the divisions in the world. So some are Finnish, I'm Swedish, I'm Danish, I'm from South America, some from India. I go beyond the race and the gender and the religion, and I consider everyone to belong to me. And then with this unlimited attitude, I have a big tendency to care more. So I become unlimited in my care. But unlimited can also mean that I'm practiced to think outside the box, to find new ways of doing things, to find new ways of reusing old gadgets, to find new ways for recycle, to find new ways of doing shopping, sustainable shopping. So maybe what we can practice here to be non-judgmental and very open to whatever comes. Because sometimes we can have very good ideas, but then the other voice in my head said, no, you can't do that. Or no, nobody else does that. But yes, maybe I can practice to be non-judgmental and see what comes of new ideas. So the third value would be to open your heart. And what has love got to do with taking care of the environment and climate change and maybe the present pandemic if you want, because they are connected. And in a way you can say that love has everything to do with it. Because when I open my heart, I practice love and compassion for myself. And then I extend my heart and practice love and compassion for everybody else. And then I extend my heart even further and practice love and compassion for all living beings and for the whole planet. And if I can practice love and compassion in such a way, not only can I heal myself, I can heal the world. And such a big heart can also accommodate others' weaknesses. Because what would happen, let's say you walk down the street and you see somebody throwing rubbish on the street. Maybe it doesn't happen so often in Finland, because I've seen that your streets in the town are really, really clean. It must be some of the cleanest city in the world, I think. But anyway, let's say you walk down the street and you see someone throwing rubbish on the street. Would it help if I become angry and tell them off? Most likely not. They would become angry back at you and they would do the same next time. But if I can remain loving and maybe just smile at them and pick their rubbish up, maybe they would think different. Maybe they would remember my smile next time they are about to throw something on the street. So what we can practice here is still to be loving no matter what, and not to be so influenced by others' weaknesses and others' mistake. And here, number 4 is respecting life. And there is a very old principle, a very old spiritual principle that say all life is sacred. It's sacred. So how do I treat something which is sacred? Well, I will not waste it, that's for sure. Let's say you have some sacred things, or you have some sacred experiences or relationship, you would be very careful about them and not waste it. So if I waste less, I will care more. I will also respect more. I respect that which is sacred. So what happens, I start respecting myself and I start respecting others and I start respecting the way nature works. And I let it work in that way in peace. And you see, there's also one way to treat sacred thing is just to let it be. For example, you have a river which has got a lot of polluted water in it. If that river is left alone and the water is in contact with air, then that river will sort of clean itself. So sometimes to let nature take its own path is also a way of respecting. And I can treat myself and others in the same way. And being positive. And I have a friend, and when he is And you see, he used to live in Greece, and there they didn't have any waste sorting mechanism in the household. So he put up sorting plastic, sorting food, sorting the card boxes, sorting metal, sorting kitchen waste. And he has to segregate all this. And then he has to go to different places to get rid of it, because the commune, the municipality, didn't have an organized official way of doing that. And he was very happy and proud of his work. But you see, when he was in a bad mood, he didn't care. He just put everything in the same bin. So I'm often thinking of him, because I have to stay positive in order to in order to get the energy to do what I know is right. Because I think deep inside, all of us really know what is right, what we need to do. But sometimes we just don't have the energy to do it. So being positive and learning to turn everything around to see it as a positive thing, that's a really good way. So in a sense, this bad mood and swinging moods, it can take our commitment away. And we also know what great impact our thoughts have on vibrations and on energy. So my thought, they travel. So in a way, you can say that, our thoughts have an impact on the climate change. And I know Mike George has been to Finland many times, giving lectures in your country. And I remember once he said that, when we are angry, our body temperature rises a little bit. It's like the body feels hot and the face gets red. And he's saying, imagine the whole world, all human beings on the whole planet are angry. That is what causing global warming. And this was a joke, of course, but in a sense, you can say our collective thoughts, they create an energy and vibrations which is actually surrounding the earth, and it have a great impact. So if I don't have the energy to be positive for my own sake, maybe you can find it to be for the world. And walking the talk. And of course, we get to hear this every day, that I have to practice what I preach. But I would like to take a different angle on it, because sometimes we cannot practice everything we say. And shall I not say anything then? If I have to practice everything 100%, which I speak about, nobody will say anything. And here, when we teach meditation in Brahma Kumaris, we teach about peace, and we teach about love and not being stressful. But of course, all of us also get stressed from time to time. But it's okay to talk about it, as long as we also share what is difficult for us. And it's same way of living 100% environmentally friendly or sustainable is actually quite difficult, and it's nearly impossible. But I can share what is difficult for me, and then I can talk with my friends about it, and maybe they can help me to find a good way, a good method, something new that has come up, or just give me a different angle to the problem. So in a way, what we can practice here when we say walk the talk would maybe be also to be open to share what is good for me and what is difficult for me. And empower yourself when this is a very strong. Here we have a little Batman, and I saw on your beautiful poster you have that little girl who's got to go out flying. So empower yourself means to be strong on the inside. And what makes me strong on the inside? And so I find it a very good question. Is it education? Is it meditation? Is it my genes? Is it my family? Is it upbringing? Is it parents? Is it school? Is it another life? What is it that would make one person strong and one person weak on the inside? And I know another woman who works in sustainability in the US. She read about inner resilience, which they sometimes call it in the climate change language, inner resilience, to be strong on the inside. And she read thousands and thousands of articles. And she boiled that down, she made an essay, a conclusion of 3 values which I need to be strong. And the first one is to face the truth and not to be in denial. To have the courage to look at reality as it is, or the problem as it is. And the second one was to have a kind of spiritual or religious framework which is like a fallback option. So when things are difficult, I have something which carry me through. And I have a kind of framework which I see the world through, which is beneficial. And the third one was to be innovative and creative and unlimited in my problem solution, in my way of finding solutions to the problem. And personally, I find all these 3 qualities in my meditation. So I find courage, I find creativity, and I find my framework when I practice meditation. So that's very helpful for me personally. But I'm sure you have your own ways of doing that. And here we have eating well. And eating well, yes, for us in Brahma Kumaris, it would mean to eat vegetarian or vegan food. But also the latest research, I'm sure you all know about it, this is to become a vegan or a vegetarian is the biggest action, the biggest decision an individual can do for the climate. Because the meat production has far more way of polluting than even the transport sector. So, eat well and eat the right amount and eat local food, but also, of course, cook with love and the food will be very nourishing. So I suppose the action there is kind of obvious. And follow your dreams. I'm sure we all have a dream of how I would like the world to be. Maybe you need to go back to your childhood dreams to find it. But I'm sure that this dream, you're not sitting alone on a dirty planet, but you're actually dreaming of a beautiful place. And you're not alone there, you're together with friends and family. So keep dreaming and make your dream very clear, very visible, very detailed. Because the clearer your dream is, the clearer your vision is, the more likely you are to achieve it. And you can say, in a way, the pandemic has been a catastrophe for the world. But for some people, it has also brought some hidden benefit. And here in Denmark, more people are going out in nature than ever before. So go for more walks, go for more walks in the forest or in the seaside. We don't really have forest here in Denmark, but they go to the sea. So, they did an investigation in Denmark after the first lockdown of what people would change in their behavior when we are going back to a kind of normal life, whatever that is. And number one on the list was to appreciate people, appreciating people and company, whoever they are, however they are like. So people are important in my life. And the second one was the appreciation of working from home. Many people have appreciated to work from home, and they are more efficient, more relaxed, less stressed. And the third one was to appreciate time in nature. And you can say spending time with family and friends and going to nature is very low carbon lifestyle. It doesn't pollute very much. So that's the good news behind all of this. So follow your dream and make it very detailed and beautiful. And the last one then here is to feed the soul. And maybe all of you practice meditation, so you know that when I have time in nature, time in reflection, when I have time with God, I start to appreciate the wonders of the world. And the silence can also help me to understand the importance of energy, of vibrations. And I can discover a whole new world in there, which is like a journey. And now in the pandemic, we can't travel outside, so we have to increase the travel on the inside. And that is also very sustaining and very beautiful. And I can create landscapes in my mind, which are exactly how I want them and where I want to go. And also in silence, in meditation, I can get the perspective. I can understand where my thought or where my action or where my words come from. I can understand the intention. And maybe I need to correct something, who knows? But it would take time to go back and find the origin of my thought or my action. And when I have time in silence, I can also understand and see the consequence of whatever I do. So, yes, these are the 10 values. And I hope you found one which you feel this is I'm really good at. And maybe you find another one which is saying I need to practice this one. And yeah, here is a beautiful beautiful image where we all are holding the world together. So I will stop the PowerPoint here, and let's see if you have any comments or any questions or what we do now.
Thank you very much, Sonja. That was very enriching and inspiring, and it was very good you pointed out or you suggested that we take notes. So it's good to have these here and get back to them and reflect on them, because all of them were so, there is something in all of them definitely to think about. And a couple of questions have come, so if we can get to them. And also, Sonja, you were asking if the people could put them in the chat box what they chose. So how should we do it? Should it be like that they put both, or?
Yeah, you can put both, and maybe you can sort of collect them and or read up a few examples just for the fun of it.
Yes, so if whoever feels inspired, it would be very nice to see what you have chose from these ones, what you are not practicing so much, or what you are practicing, what you feel you can very much relate to already. So that would be nice. So please feel free to write them. And in the meanwhile, we'll get to the questions. So here was a question that, what would you say to someone who says that this is a waste of time? And it was regarding them looking after nature. and that it is too late to do anything to save the planet?
Well, to these people, I take on my nursing attitude. And you know my answer, Hannah. I think that sometimes I would consider Mother Earth as an old lady. And I worked in the old people's home. And there, our old ladies, if they are maybe terminal or maybe they are kind of 90, 100 years old and they can't walk anymore, or, you know, maybe they can't even eat by themselves, but you would not just leave them there. No one is leaving an old person just on their own. You take care of them, you give them spoon by spoon food, or you turn them over every hour and you wash them every day. And you make their last sort of breath very beautiful. And whatever will happen with Mother Earth, we actually don't know, but we know she's old, and we have used her in a sense, overused her, and all her gifts to us. So we have to look after her very well. And I don't only do that for the sake of Mother Earth, I actually feel better myself. Because you know that if you ignore someone who needs help, you will always be a little bad conscience inside. Like now, for example, during the pandemic, many people have not been able to visit the old people in the old people's home. And that has been a terrible experience for many. It's nearly like a trauma. Your parents are sitting there and you can't go there, and you know they need you, and the loneliness can also kill people. So in a sense, so when we can do what we know is right, we feel good, and when we can't, we feel bad. So in a sense, also with Mother Earth, if I don't make sure that my love and care extend not only to other human beings, but also to the world around me, I will have a bad conscience all that's, you know, nagging me in the back of my head, and that will sometimes stop me from just kind of being peaceful or loving. So I do it for the sake of Mother Earth, but I do it equally for me, for my own peace and good consciousness.
Yes, thank you. That was a very lovely answer, and it was a good question, because there are many, I'm sure, in the world who think, okay, well, what's the point anyway? We see it's going to be destroyed, and all kinds of things are out there that people are thinking and hearing. So this is such a nice approach and very fresh somehow. It was, at least for me, a totally new way to think about it. That lovely example that like an old person, would you just leave them and ignore them? And so thank you so much for this answer. And we have another question: how to react if someone, well, actually, this is a little bit connected now that I look at it, that how to react if someone violates nature or does not care about it. It's a little bit similar to the previous one. I'm not sure if you already touched, but
well, you know, the whole world is violating nature, isn't it? I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, the money, the banks, with money we have in the banks, they invest in non-sustainable things. Our insurance companies invest in that. The oil industry, when we drive our cars, and electricity, we buy a t-shirt and it uses too much water, you know. Eating avocado, we talked about it here. It uses a lot of water. And so indirectly or directly, all of us are part of the same story. So if possible, not to react, but keep calm and peaceful, and see if there is anything I can do to change my life. Or see, many times it's lack of awareness. So, you know, I'm sure you know about Greta, our young woman from Sweden who just turned 18. And she would always talk about science, study science, make yourself aware, educate yourself. And in Brahma Kumaris, we also have knowledge as the first principle or the first topic. So when I started with this environment campaign, I had no idea about the link between my thoughts and the world around me. And I've studied how mind and matter are connected, and it's been a long and beautiful journey. And I understand I was wrong in many things I thought and did before. So it would be the same for everybody. So I think that's my answer. But, you know, there is a lot of violence going on. It's a difficult, tricky question.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. It's so interesting to think that like you were mentioning, Sonja, that at least we try to do what we feel we can, and somehow that will then bring out the energy for the change, and of course the knowledge. Also, something I've noticed is that when there is if we are thinking of at least becoming aware of something, then we will more easily find also the right knowledge for it, so the solution for it. So like in one of the points, it was to face the truth. So that's really like a nice reminder that the first step that we take, that we at least look at it with honesty and notice if there is something, and then the solution, it is like giving space for solutions to come. Here we have some more questions, so maybe we can take a couple before in the end we'll have the meditation. So some people have commented for the questions. So somebody's saying that they are eating quite well, but there could be improvement, and simplicity is needed.
Good.
So practicing contentment and happiness. Or I guess so. That was a nice connection between simplicity and contentment. And as Mala has said, that to eat vegetarian food and meditate daily, and she's hoping that it will help Mother Earth a little bit, and also car. She's hoping to find a way to work without a car.
Or maybe you can bring somebody with you when you go to work, so you can go two together.
Yes.
Because in Finland, you know, it's difficult to be without a car in the way we live now, but maybe you can share more. Then you have both company and you share something.
That's a good practical tip. So hopefully, Mala, you
nowadays we have to go with face mask maybe.
One can be in the back seat and one can drive the car with the mask, but at least you are still in the same, if possible, of course. Now I think in some places you can a little bit be flexible, but of course to be sensible maybe with this. But
what's the question? How to be loving to all? Did you see that?
Yes, how to practice being loving to all.
Yeah, this is a good question. Because it's not that easy, right? And I mean, I think you know all the answer. All of you know the answer, isn't it? We know it deep inside. That I'm not saying I have the right answer, but I'll have to be loving to myself. Especially when I make mistakes. When I make mistakes, I'll go and sit and I say, sweet Sonja, until the bad feeling is gone. And negative self-talk is forbidden. You know, these are the two main things in having a loving relationship with the self. And then when I sort of accept myself as I am, then I can accept others as they are. I let other people be as they want to be. If someone wants to be angry or wasting or doing this, I'll just let them be exactly how they want to be. Because when I do that, I set myself free to be exactly how I want to be. So I find I've been practicing this for many years, and I find that's the best method that works for me. If you want to be angry, okay, it's not my story, it's your story. And then I can remain a bit detached. And then I can remain detached, and then I can remain loving. So that's what I would say.
Yes, thank you for that answer. And this is something like a personal observation. I've had the privilege to work with Sonja a little bit and get to know her a little bit through our meditation happenings that have been around the world. And that is really a feeling that one feels with Sonja. Is so easy to feel that you can just be how you are, and you are totally accepted that way. So I've been in the receiving end. So so it's not just help for the person itself, like Sonja was saying, that it's good for herself, but it's also good for the others to feel that energy. That okay, even if something is a bit not quite right at the moment, but you know it will anyway pass. So it's nice to feel accepted like that. Okay, and so maybe we take this last question, and after that, if we can go to meditation session. So here's a question: that what about when in being loving to all, there is no problem? On the contrary, it is somehow becoming a problem also sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, of course, because we mix Ohlsson scars with it. But you know, love never hurts. It's not possible there is any kind of pain in love. So if there is a problem in love, it's because it's mixed with something else. So if I can find that whatever it is mixed with, ego or expectations, whatever, then I can little by little sort of remove it. And then it won't be a problem anymore. And sometimes people are also good in being loving to all, but they forget the self. So I'll have to start there. So let's have the meditation now, shall we? So this, I wanted to play the Green Angel meditation with you. And me and Henna actually did these recordings together in Madhuban some years ago. And it's a visual meditation. So I will ask all of you to sit up and or maybe sit relaxed and straighten up your back a bit, maybe however you want to sit, but you can breathe easily. And then I'll play this meditation for you. It's about 5-7 minutes. And let me find it here. If you can't hear the sound, Hannah, you have to let me know.
I go to a place in nature, a place of greenery and peace. In my thoughts, I emerge the wind, and I can hear the leaves of the tree moving in the breeze. The wind whispers secrets in my ear, and I understand. I can feel the sunshine on my face, softly warming my heart and soul. The birds are chirping in the background and singing songs of happiness and joy. I emerge the feeling of belonging to the planet, to nature, to the animals and all living beings. I feel safe in being forever connected to this global family of all living beings, and being connected to the world around me. I will remember this moment if I ever lose hope for our common future of harmony for all.
So I say thank you, and here you can find, if you want to listen to this meditation again, it's there on the website. You just click on meditation and there you find it, and there is a few more visuals like this. So I say thank you very much and wish you a good month where you will practice everything you shared. So some have said you want to practice to go beyond. So simple living needs practicing. Yeah. I was in a online conference for the youth the other day. It was hosted by the center in Dubai, and there were two moderators, two young people, and one asked the other, "How many shoes do you have?" And she says, "Well, I have one pair and then I have a few hours." "Well, I won't let you go away with that. It's not exact as." So he was pressing her how many shoes that she had, and it was so funny. So sometimes we can also be a bit direct and help each other to move forward. But of course, to be loving and to share and to be generous, keep our meditation going and keep our eating well going, and lots of time in nature, and we'll be okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonja, for all the inspirations, and I'm sure we all got something now to put in our backpack to take with us and put into practice also, and we are all very happy. And so we are finishing here. We'll just have a few announcements in the end. And we are hoping that Sonja will one day come back to join us on one of these talks. It would be very nice. And also, we never know what kind of cooperation will happen in the future. Also, there are many now around the globe who are getting very interested about these environmental issues, because it's very much now in the it can be so clearly seen. So that is also creating, in a way, a very lovely wave of like a global cooperation. So So thank you so much for the inspiration to be part of this wave of bringing benefit to the world. And maybe if now we can get the programs on the screen,